So there was something wonderful that was given at this dinner. It was Martha's service. There was something beautiful that was given. It was Mary's perfume. And finally today, there was something powerful that was offered at this dinner. Very powerful. Look at verses 9 through 11. Meanwhile, a large crowd of Jews found out that Jesus was there, and they came not only because of him, follow this, but also to see Lazarus, whom God had raised from the dead. Are you getting this? Blessed to be a blessing? Now, again, some religious people may not like your answer to prayer. Because verse 10 says, so the chief priests made plans to kill Lazarus as well. These are great guys, aren't they? They're supposed to be the religious leaders. Okay, let's kill him too. And why? Why do they want to take him out? Verse 11 says this, for on account of him, meaning Lazarus, many of the Jews were going over to Jesus and believing in him. Are you getting this? You see, Lazarus could have just said, woo, I'm alive. I'll probably write a book, right? And, maybe start my own ministry. And we see nothing of that at all. Any kind of self-promotion, none whatsoever. All he was doing, Lazarus, hear me. All he was doing was staying as close to Jesus as he possibly could. And because of that, because of what God did in him, Lazarus had a testimony. Martha's gift was wonderful. It was her service. Mary's gift was beautiful. It was her perfume. But Lazarus' gift was powerful because it was his testimony. Lazarus never preached a sermon. Should I say it again? He never preached a sermon. All he had was a testimony. You don't have to preach a sermon, but you do have a testimony, Lazarus. Oh, he hasn't raised me from the dead. Oh, yes, he has. He's raised you from death to life. You were bound in sin, and Jesus has set you free. There is new life in Jesus Christ. The old man is gone. Behold, all things now are made new. And because of that, you, young lady, you, sir, you have a testimony. And there are few things more powerful than a testimony of what Jesus has done in your life. Man, any salesman who's trying to sell, those Kirby guys. And if you're a Kirby guy, I'd love you, okay? They bring in these tanks called sweepers. And I'll never forget, some guy came to my house years ago, and I let him in. Oh, Phil, why did you let him in? And his whole selling point, look at the different, let's see your vacuum cleaner. I'm like, well, okay, looks like mine's been through the tribulation, but it will go. It's not doing anything. And the Kirby guy, he brings in his vacuum cleaner. It's just like, furniture's moving. It's just like, oh my gosh. The power in that thing. And almost convinced me to buy one. But I did not want to get divorced. And so, right? That's why we've been together 36 years, folks. But the selling point was not the good-looking fella who brought me like a bar of soap. Here's a free gift. Now let me come in and set up my Kirby. And that wasn't the selling point. In fact, he was a little annoying. But what was the selling point Here's your dirty floor. Now watch what the Kirby can do. Look how clean it is. Wouldn't you want to have one of these vacuum cleaners? I'm like, wow. You know what your testimony is? Here's my life. It was a mess. I was addicted. I was angry. I was fearful. However you fill in the line. This is what I was. But look at the difference that the cross of Jesus made in my life. And now I'm clean. Now I'm not addicted to drugs anymore. Now I'm not a jerk. I cry all the time. It's awesome. Now I'm not fearful anymore. I could actually get out of bed and function in the day. The difference has been Jesus. And there's few things out there in the world. There are few things out there in the world that are more powerful than your testimony. Can you offer your testimony to Jesus this year? Can you give a hurting world who desperately needs Jesus? Can you tell them, look, I may not even be able to quote all the Bible verses, and if I do, I'm probably going to get them wrong. I can't explain all this theology to you, but here's what I know. I once was blind, but now I see. I once was addicted, now I'm free. I once was this, but God has changed me. He has saved me. That's my testimony. And on account of you, church, there could be somebody who is just waiting to give their lives to Jesus. They just need to see how this thing works. And you're the testimony. People were leaving Judaism to follow Jesus. Not because of Jesus, but first because of Lazarus. Who might you impact? Students on the campus, who might you impact with your testimony? I'm not saying get up in the student center and start hollering out the 4 spiritual laws. Can you live out Jesus there? Mom and dad, grandma, grandpa, who is it that is hurting and they need to see it. They need to see it. It's like, how come you don't get stressed out like I do? How come you're not freaking out every time something happens on the news? Why? Well, I got a Kirby. I have Jesus. He saved me. And I may not have it all figured out, but I've got a hope today. I can function. Even though I got bad news, I can still function because I have Jesus. And that's powerful.